Good morning to all. Tapas Debnath, Department of Botany, State Aided College Teacher, Barakpur Rashtraguru Surendranath College. Today I will discuss about ecology and its functional aspects of ecology. First of all, I'll discuss about the ecosystem. What is ecosystem? An ecosystem is a basic functional unit in ecology as it includes both organism and their abiotic environment. No organism can exist without the environment. Ecosystem represent the highest level of ecological integration, which is energy based. A pond, a lake, a coral reef, part of any field, and a laboratory culture can be some of the examples of ecosystem. And this is the general definition. The definition shows, thus an ecosystem is defined as a specific unit of all the organisms occupying a given area which interact with the physical environment producing distinct trophic structure, biotic diversity, and material cycle. Material cycle, that means it indicates the biogeochemical cycle. The term ecology was first proposed by the British ecologist A.G. Tansley in 1935. The process, there are two basic processes in our ecosystem. One of the process involves a cycle of exchange of materials between living things and the environment. The plant synthesizes the complex organic materials from the raw materials. The organic materials ultimately release the raw materials which are returned to the environment. The mechanism are called cycling of material. Previously I shall talk about the biogeochemical cycle. This is the biogeochemical cycle. The other basic requirement of an ecosystem is the constant input of energy. The ultimate source of the energy is the sun, whose the solar energy is captured by green plant. Other organisms derive their nutrients and energy from the plant. The energy taken by this organism is passed on the other organism. In this way, energy is transferred from one organism to another, and this is called the energy flow. The major aspect of ecosystem and its structure involves, these are as follows: composition of biological community, including the species, numbers, biomass, life history, and distribution in space. Quantity and distribution of non-living material such as nutrient and water, etc. Range or the gradient of conditions of exchange such as the temperature and light, etc. There are two basic types. There are two basic types of ecosystem. One is the terrestrial ecosystem and another is the aquatic ecosystem. Terrestrial ecosystems are found everywhere apart from the water body. They are broadly classified into the forest ecosystem. The forest ecosystem is the part of one of the terrestrial ecosystem. These are the ecosystem where the abundance of the flora, that is the plant, is the seen, and they have a large number of organisms living in relatively small areas. You can see wonderful diversity of the fauna of this ecosystem too. They are again divided into 5 types. This is the forest ecosystem, the 5 types. Tropical evergreen forest. The tropical forest which receive an average rainfall of 80 to 400 inches in a year. These forests are marked by the dense vegetation comprising of all trees with the different levels. Each level gives the shelter of the different kinds of animal. This is the tropical evergreen forest. Tropical evergreen forest receive an average rainfall of 80 to 400 inches on a year, and that's why the plants are the evergreen, because the heavy rainfall is occur and in that area, and the maximum plants are the evergreen. That is, they are not deciduous, they are evergreen. This map shows the world tropical evergreen forest. Then tropical deciduous forest. Tropical deciduous forest, the dense bushes and shrubs will here along with the broad leaves of tree. This type of forest is found in many parts of the world, and the large variety of flora and fauna are found here. This is the tropical deciduous forest, and it shows the deciduous mode of the plants. That is, the plants release their all leaves in a particular season of a year. Then this is also shows the tropical deciduous forest, and this is the world map where the deciduous forest, tropical deciduous forest, are situated in the earth. Temperate evergreen forest, these have the very few number of trees, but ferns and mosses make up from them. These have the spark-leaved to minimize the transpiration. This is the temperate evergreen forest. Temperate deciduous forest, this forest is found in the moist temperate region with the sufficient rainfall. Winter and summer are well defined, and the trees shedding their leaves during winter. These are the picture that shows the temperate deciduous forests, and the world map also shows the temperate deciduous forests were found in the earth. And then is the taiga. Taiga suggested the just south, and it's situated just south of the Arctic region. Taiga is distinguished by evergreen conifers, where the temperature is sub-zero for almost 6 months. The rest of the year it busying with the insect and migratory birds. The migratory birds are found in the region of the taiga, and maximum time of the year, that is almost 6 months, is this region is covered by snow. Then is the desert ecosystem. Desert ecosystem is the one of the most another important ecosystem. Desert ecosystems are found in the region receiving an annual rainfall of less than 25 centimeter. They occupy around 70% of all land on the planet due to very high temperature, in instance sunlight, and low water availability. Flora and fauna are poorly developed, and sacred. The vegetation is mainly bushes, shrub, few grasses, and related trees. Leaves and the stems of these plants are modified to convert the water. The best known the desert part are the succulent, like the spiny leaves cacti, because their leaf are modified into a spine, because it occurs due to the decrease the water, secrete the water level, and decrease the moisture level, and decrease for the photosynthetic and also respiration. Animals life includes the insect, reptiles, birds, camels, all of the whom are adapted to the xeric condition. This is the desert ecosystem. These are the animals and plants that are found in the desert ecosystem. Then the grassland ecosystem. The grasslands are found in both temperate and tropical regions of the world, but the ecosystems are slightly varying. This area mainly comprised of the grasses with very little amount of shrubs and trees. Main vegetation is grasses, legumes, and the plants belonging to the composite family. Many grazing animals, herbivorous and the insectivorous, are found in this grassland. Two main types of the grassland. The basic two types of the grasslands are found. These are the animals of grassland ecosystems, the dominant animal species of the grassland ecosystem. Different kinds of animals are found in the maximum in the grassland ecosystem. Two types of the grassland ecosystems. The main two types are the savanna grassland and another is the prairie grassland. The tropical grasslands are dry with the few individual trees. They support the large numbers of grazing and predators. And the prairies, this is the temperate grassland. It is the completely devoid of trees and the large shrubs. Prairies can be categorized as all the grasses, mixed grasses, and short grasses prairies. And the prairies contain the different kinds of the grass species like shabai and another species also found. Then the aquatic ecosystem. Aquatic ecosystem is one of the most important ecosystem. Aquatic ecosystems are composed of the living organisms and non-living elements interacting in the water environment. There are two major types of aquatic ecosystems. One is the freshwater and another is the marine water ecosystem. In the freshwater ecosystem, although freshwater ecosystems are one of the main types of aquatic ecosystems, only 0.8% of the Earth's surface is covered by them. The water and the freshwater ecosystems is non-saline. Approximately 41% of the Earth's fishes are found in freshwater ecosystems. Then this is the examples of the freshwater ecosystem. This is the streams and the rivers. This is the lotic ecosystem. Loting, that means it indicates the moving water. That is the water with the water current, high speed water current. That is the lotic ecosystems. And the lake, ponds and pools. These are the lentic ecosystem. Lentic, that means it indicates the stagnant water. And also wetland ecosystem. Wetland ecosystem is the one of important aquatic ecosystem because it's found in the large area, in the large scale area. Then marine ecosystem. While the terrestrial ecosystem covers only about 28%, marine ecosystem covers approximately 71% of the Earth's surface. Different habitats range from the coral reefs to estuaries make up this largest aquatic ecosystem in the planet. Then is the structure type of the marine ecosystems. The one of the marine ecosystem is the ocean. The marine body of the salty water that is further divided into important oceans and the smaller seas. Major oceans included the Pacific Oceans, Indian Oceans, Arctic Oceans, Atlantic Oceans and Southern Oceans. Then intertidal zone, area which remains underwater at the high tide and the remains terrestrial at the low tide. Different types of habitats including wetland, rocky, cliffed and the sandy beaches fall under the intertidal zone. An intertidal zone is the important for the ecosystem, and different kinds of animal and plants are situated in this intertidal zone. And then is the estuary. Estuary is the basic and the important structure of ecosystem, and it's differ from the marine ecosystem of marine water, and also is differ from the ecosystem of the sweet water. Area between the river and ocean environment that are prone to the tide and inflow of the both fresh water and the saline water. Due to this inflow, estuaries have the high levels of nutrients. There are different numbers of estuaries such as the lagoons and the harbors, etc. Then the coral reefs, often referred as a rainforest of a sea. This is referred as a rainforest of a sea. Coral reefs are the mounds found in the marine water as a result of the accumulation of the calcium carbonate deposited by marine organisms like corals and the shellfish. The coral reefs form the most varied marine ecosystem in the planet, but covered less than 1% of the world's ocean. Nevertheless, around 25% of the marine animals, including different types of fishes, sponges, and mollusks, are found in the coral reefs. This picture shows the freshwater ecosystems and marine water ecosystem. That's the basic difference between the freshwater ecosystem and also the marine water ecosystem. That is the salinity. The high level of the salinity is found in the marine water, and the low level of the salinity is found in the fresh water. But the intermediate zone is known as the estuarine water, and the salt level is the lower than the marine water and the higher than the fresh water. And the intertidal zone, this shows the intertidal zone, the area which remains underwater at the high tide and the remain terrestrial at the low tide. Different types of habitats including the wetlands, rocky cliffs and the sandy beaches fall under these intertidal zones. Estuaries, this is the well-defined estuaries area. Estuaries between the river and the ocean environments that are prone to the tides and inflow of the both fresh water and saline water. Due to this inflow, estuaries that have the high levels of nutrients. These are different names of the estuaries as the lagoons and the harbors, etc. These are the types of the estuaries. Then it is a coral reef. This is a beautiful part of the salty ecosystems, and it's not found in the all over the world saline ecosystems. Often the coral reef often referred as the rainforest of the seas. The coral reefs are the mounds found in the marine water as a result of accumulation of the calcium carbonate deposited by the marine organism like the corals and the shellfish. The corals are mainly produced from the animal part. Coral reefs form the most varied marine ecosystems in the planet, but they cover less than 1% of the world's ocean. Nevertheless, around the 25% of the marine animals, including different types of fishes, sponges, and the mollusks, are found in the coral reef. Then the marine ecosystems are important for all the well-being of the both terrestrial and aquatic environment. They are vulnerable to environmental problems such as climatic changes, pollution, and overfishing, which can be a serious harm to the marine biodiversity. Then is the trophic organization. This is the trophic organization. A trophic label refers to the organism's position in the food chain. Food chain is the important functional aspects of the ecosystem. The word trophic derives from the Greek word meaning to food or feeding. Food or feeding. It is the important terminology, food and also feeding or feeding. It is the simply a feeding level as the often represent in a food chain. Primary producer comprise the first trophic levels, followed by primary consumer, that is the herbivorous. Herbivorous, they can produce their energy from the herbs, that is the plants. That's why the plants can absorb the energy directly from the sun, and they can produce the food materials by the process of photosynthesis. Then secondary consumer, that is the carnivores feeding on herbivory. As the secondary consumers, secondary consumer are maximum the herbivory, and so on. It is the important to note that many animals do not specialize in their diet. Obviously, these are the important to note that the many animals do not specialize in their diets. Omnivores such as the humans eat both animals and plants. This is the important of, and the top level food food of the trophic level, and it is the top level as the omnivory. Omnivory are all the human beings are the omnivory. Further, except for the some specialized, the most carnivorous don't limit their diet to organisms of only one trophic levels. Frogs, for the instant, do not discriminate between the herbivory and the carnivory bugs in their diet. This is the example. If it's the right size and the moving at the right distance, the chains are, the frog will eat. It's not as if the frog has the brain cells to wondering if it's going to mess up the food chain. By being a secondary consumer, one minute, and a quaternary consumer the next. This is the flow of the food energy in the trophic level, and it is the inverted type. On the first trophic level, this is the producer, second trophic level primary consumer, and the third trophic level secondary consumer, and fourth trophic level as the tertiary consumer. And the producer, according to the number, the producer is the highest, and then primary consumer, then secondary consumer, then tertiary consumer. According to the number and the storage energy, this is the pyramid. This is the right pyramid. This is the not a inverted pyramid. Then this is the trophic organization, and the trophic organization shows the trophic level, that is the trophic level to producer, primary consumers, secondary consumers, and tertiary consumer also. And available energy units is the downwards, because in the producer contain high amount of the energy and their number is the high, then the primary consumer, secondary consumer, and also tertiary consumer. According to the size is the increase and the number is the decrease according to the increase the trophic level. Then the food chain. Food chain is the important part of the ecology and the ecosystem. A classic paper by the Lindemann 1942 laid the foundation of ecological energetics. He attempted to quantify the concept of food chain and food webs by considering the efficiency of transfer between trophic levels. from indicates the radiation received by a community through its the capture by the green plant, photosynthesis to its subsequent use by herbivorous, carnivorous and decomposer also. A characteristics of an ecosystem is the number and the nature of the species and that occupy its the various trophic level. The relationship between the constituents of the trophic level and the constituents of the adjacent trophic levels may be described by a food chain. A food chain shows the movement of energy through a system by indicating the path of food from a producer to a final consumer. In general, food chain have 3 to 5 trophic links with the 15 to 20 species. The length of the food chain also may reflect the physical characteristics of a particular ecosystem. And the types of the food chain is the gazing food chain. Gazing food chain is the one of the important type of the food chain. Gazing food chain derive the energy directly from the sun. The gazing food chain begins with the primary producer, primary consumer or herbivorous. From the secondary link in the gazing food chain, they gain their energy by consuming the primary producer, secondary consumer or the primary carnivorous, that the third link in the chain. They gain their energy by consuming the herbivorous. Tertiary consumer or the secondary carnivore are the animals that receive their organic energy by the consuming the primary carnivorous. This is the flow chain according to the gazing the food habitat. This is the first is the autotrophs, is the produce the food material and absorb the energy from the sunlight and the produce food by the system of the photosynthesis. Then second is the herbivory, and this intake the autotrophs directly and consume their energy. Then the primary carnivorous are directly consume the herbivorous, and the secondary carnivorous also consume the primary carnivorous and as well as the herbivory also. Then the detritus food chain. Detritus food chain is important type of the food chain in our ecosystem because it is in this type of food chain the decomposers are the important part. They decompose all the living and the dead materials which are not needed in our environment. Detritus food chain begins with the dead organic matter, which is then the important source of energy. A large amount of organic material is contributed by the death of the plants, animals, and their extraction product. This type of food chain are present in all ecosystems. Various species of microscopic fungi, bacteria, and other sporophytes that play the prominent role in decomposing the organic matter to obtain energy needed for their survival and growth. Detritus food chains are connected to the gazing food chain. Most of the natural ecosystem possesses both gazing and detritus type of food chain. Their relative importance, however, varies from one ecosystem to another. In terrestrial and the shallow water ecosystem, gazing food chain the dominant because a major proportion of the natural energy flow passes through the circuit. In this case of the tidal much amount, the 90% of the primary production is rounded through the detritus food chain. And then it is a food web, and food web is related to the food chain. Different kinds of food chain are ultimately together to form a food web, that is the net-like structure. More often than the not, the simple food chain are oversimplified version of the relatively of the feeding relationship. Obviously, it's important for the feeding relationship. Instead, there are the often multiply and interconnecting pathways, as well as the numbers of the different species involved at each trophic levels. This complex pathway resembles a web rather than a simple chain and are the referred to as the food web. So, a food web is a pictorial representations of the feeding relationship between the organism and in an ecosystem, and the consist of the interlocking food chain. And this is the pictures, and it shows the different kinds of food webs are found in our ecosystem. Then ecological pyramids. An ecological pyramids is the graphical representation of an ecological parameters, like numbers of individuals presence in various trophic levels of food chain, with producer forming the base and the top carnivorous. The top ecological pyramids were developed by Krill's Latin and are also called the Latonal pyramids, and the ecological pyramids can be upright, inverted, or the spindle shape. The three types of ecological pyramids are found: primary pyramid of numbers, pyramids of biomass, and pyramids of energy. Pyramids of number, a graphic representation of the number of individual per unit area of the various trophic level. The pyramid is the upright for the grassland and the pond, but is the inverted in the parasitic ecosystem. Then parasitic ecosystem is the different ecosystem that is a differ from the normal ecosystem. Pyramid of biomass, amount of living or organic matter present in an organism is called biomass. It is a graphical representation of biomass per unit area. Upright pyramid found in the terrestrial habitats and inverted the shape found in the aquatic habitat. Then the pyramid of energy, it is the graphic representation of the amount of energy trapped per unit time in and the area in the different trophic levels of the food chain. These are the pyramids: pyramids of energy, and pyramids of biomass, and pyramids of numbers. So thank you, and it is the required for the student of semester 4, especially under the West Bengal State University. Thank you.